break if you like. Okay?
Please let's do a break.
Speaker, we have a speaker. Go ahead.
It's going to be a short presentation, and I hope you will enjoy it. This is about...
Arkadaşlar çok özel. My dear friends, my PowerPoint is over there. You can copy it. You teach the lesson. Tell the students that you can take the PowerPoint and then they study at home and then become autonomous learners. So you can take it over from there. Okay. Go ahead, Metin.
English teachers, as well as learners, have a big problem learning vocabulary. There are various ways of enlarging students' vocabulary. Most teachers ask students, if they encounter a word they don't understand the meaning, ask them to, okay, what should they do? Yeah, look it up in a dictionary, or just read through it and deduce the meaning of what you're reading, and eventually you will understand everything without looking at a dictionary. Some teachers think that looking up every word in a dictionary is the best idea, and some others even throw the dictionary out of the classroom and just keep reading and everything is understandable. Now today we have another choice. Learning the roots and affixes of words to enlarge vocabulary. This is the scientific way of enlarging vocabulary. Now, classifying this system of etymology, learning the vocabulary through their parts is what we're going to do. So there are Latin roots which bring the English language the largest amount of materials to make up the words. Then we have the Greek roots. Then of course the parts of those words coming in before them and after them. So you have prefixes and suffixes. So categorizing this system of composing the words in the English language, we teach students the basic Latin roots with their examples, and then the Greek words with their uses, derivatives we call them, and some prefixes that go before these roots, and then the suffixes. This is what we're going to do today, and see how effective that is. And I need your feedback on that, whether you find that effective or not, this particular system. Now, a short introduction on the importance of vocabulary. Is vocabulary important for students? Vocabulary is definitely important for students. Some scholars, some writers, they even go to an extent that an unknown word, just one particular word, is so important that a person even loses interest in going into a study or gives up from reading or doing any kind of research. So one particular word, misunderstood or unknown, may be synonymous with success or failure. So many students, they don't know why they are unsuccessful. And some scholars tell us that the reason for their failure is the unknown word. The word that they're not familiar, they're not quite sure of its meaning. So this particular approach is to go into etymology, the roots, okay? And then we deal with this scientifically. Okay, now I have a listing of, okay? Good. Okay, let me see. I have a listing of here, most known Latin roots. By the way, one particular scholar has come up with the result that a knowledge of around 80 odd number of such elements, 28 of them Latin proverbs, 28 of them Greek proverbs, another 20 or so prefixes, yet the last 20 suffixes would be sufficient enough to grasp tens of thousands of words in the English language. Isn't that miraculous? So this is a wonderful approach of enlarging vocabulary by the side of looking up every word you don't understand in a dictionary, or just read through and you will eventually understand. Okay, so we teachers must be the most cruel creatures in the whole world to torture our students by forcing them into looking up in dictionary and just read them through without understanding word. Assume that they will eventually understand every word that they need to know by reading it through and looking at it. So they should, in fact, learn the rules and affixes. Okay, here are those magical keys of learning vocabulary. Okay, this particular one. Would you help me with your laser pointer, please?
Oops, here.
Good. Okay. So that comes from capere. The capere has having to do with cup, cap, sip, etc. Meaning to take. And the other one is see. It says having to do with going. And yet another one is kurkus, having to do with running. And then the Latin root dictic, meaning say, and then ducks having to do with leading, and then aqua, and all these fact, and then fur, and mit, and par, and flick, and pon, and scrib, and sickly, and spec, and all these 20 odd elements give us hundreds, perhaps thousands of words in the English language. The point here is that Latin roots make the nature and composition of words transparent. The student raise their familiarity with them, and what comes after Latin roots are Greek roots. And let's just go through some of these Greek roots. I'll give you around 20 of these. Aker, and then meaning height, and air, having to do with air, and is that feeling, and then some others. I tell you, the Greek roots have to do with biology and body and then health and all these issues. And then the Latin roots have to do with technical issues. Now, after Greek and Latin roots, we have prefixes. Now, the prefixes are so important that these prefixes give us an idea of what the meaning has to do. The most important prefixes are on and re. So if any word comes with the prefix on, you automatically assume that it is negative. So anything starting with im and ins, im and ill and this and all these, they also are related with negative connotation. So anything that starts with re is just repetition. Very interesting is that almost all European languages, and basically the Romance languages, they start with similar prefixes that they have, because these are either Greek or Latin prefixes. Now, going to the suffixes. They say Turkish is a suffix language, so the whole grammar of the Turkish language can be summed up in a set of suffixes. But in English, learning suffixes is so important that you can, share this with me. Why suffixes are so important in making up of English words? Because they allow you to recognize the part of speech. So they can tell you whether a particular word is noun or an adjective or a verb or an adverb. Isn't that mysterious? Isn't that miraculous? Unlike other European languages, English does not have le, la, does not have der, die, das. Gender form does not exist in English. So you simply have to recognize by the shape of the word or its relationship with the rest of the sentence, by the connotation. So after noun comes a verb, and before the noun comes an adjective. So you can recognize by the way that it looks, by the way it is situated in a sentence. So English is such a mysterious, such a beautiful, wonderful language that we teachers should make it easier for students to learn.
Yeah.
So vocabulary is essential for the success,
Yeah.
for the student to feel. Now let's just go to the conclusion. I'm going to sum up the whole thing in that conclusion form, which may be a little longer than the usual conclusion, but that will sum up. So I know offhand the conclusion part tells us about the importance of vocabulary. Vocabulary is tremendously important for students to feel good about themselves, to feel confident about their progress, about their grasp of the language. Now, many researchers have shown the benefits of building English vocabulary through a systematic learning of rules. One study has shown that 82 rules give us tens of thousands of words in English. This is a great asset. So the knowledge of how to use them. Grasping these miraculous keys will lead us to comprehend volumes of books. So the question may come up. If you do not ask me, I am going to ask this question to myself. When should we start teaching prefixes and suffixes and root systems? Right from the start, as early as possible. Start. Okay. Many of you perhaps are not familiar of the etymology of the word human. So why is a human? Because a man, human, is made of whom? Which is the soil. The man is made of the dust of the earth. So whom is dust? And to bring someone down to dust is to humiliate him. So if someone is so modest and he's humble, as lowly as dust, if someone is dead and you bring them out of the grave, that you exhume it and you bury someone that's inhuman. So etymology is so wonderful. Okay, let me just conclude this by stating that teaching our students these items, several games and activities could be employed to foster their learning. There are many ways, but the material is there. We can either be this guardian angels leading our students to their success or stopping them from being successful. So let us help our students learn at least 100 basic elements to help them learn by themselves tens of thousands of words.
Okay.
Thank you.
One question, not a remark, just one question. Just you are a host. Just a minute, you are a host. Any other question?
Any comment? Any question?
Just one question.
You agree with?
Go ahead, ask your question.
Would you recommend us a book, on suffixes, or are you going to be writing up a book?
This is wonderful. I recommend you to get your students to explore the wonderful world of. Okay, this Presbyterian House book is a wonderful material. However, what I recommend you is ask your students to explore these keys by themselves.
Okay, Metin Bey, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you, all of it.
Shall we take a break or shall we continue?